Here back again, and I thought I would do something just a bit different. Obviously, everyone knows we've got the 100% Manchester United podcast, which will be starting at 7 o'clock UK time, so stay tuned for that. But really what I'm doing now is basically a bit of an injury update, what I call like a Manchester United injury update, because essentially United have injuries. We have injuries, a lot of injuries, and I've been giving a lot of transfer news. This probably shouldn't be too long. We maybe like half an hour tops. Obviously, get involved in the comments if you're new to the channel. Like, share, and subscribe to Redevil Studio. Follow us on Twitter at We United X and smash that notification button to get the latest Manchester United news. But yeah, this is essentially a an injury update for Manchester United. We have a lot of injuries coming out. We expect there to be transfers, but if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's recent comments to go by, that's not looking likely either. But the reality is that this whole presentation anyway is just basically something to give you guys who are the players that are out injured. When do we expect, according to Manchester United, when do we expect these? How long these players going to be injured out for? So, and when do we expect these players to come back in? And your views on such. So that's basically what we're going to do today. And I've been meaning to do this. So let me just start off. So obviously you can see general team here. Everyone's happy, supposedly, and matches going to the rest of it. Like there are a couple of key players in there who, really need to come back. Obviously, Dallo obviously is I think is back already now. We've got Greenwood there, Gomez is there, and the like, Fred and so on, Chong, Brandon Williams and so on. So the reality is that, and I'll go give my viewpoints on this, but the reality is that Manchester United is one of the most profitable clubs in the world, and I think it's absolutely embarrassing that we have to. I think bringing new players is fine, but I think that you should not be heavily dependent on our academy, and we are. And personally, I think that is wrong. The fact that we're relying on like Chong, Gomez, Brandon Williams, Greenwood and the like, to make a massive impact into the squad, because we don't have the squad depth, and because senior players either leaving the club or being forced out of the club. So that's my 2 cents. That is my 2 cents. Anyway, moving on. Harry Maguire. Okay, so this is obviously Harry Maguire. Obviously, as people know, he got injured. It was a hip injury, suspected hip injury, during the FA Cup game, which we drew against Wolves, and playing Wolves again, which isn't exactly ideal. And so therefore, Harry Maguire obviously missed out on the Carabao Cup semi against Man City, where we were comprehensively spanked in terms of our performance by Manchester City. So essentially, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has given a bit of an update in his press conference against Norwich, and it's basically said that Harry Maguire, although there was no expected return date, he is expected to come back by the end of. Well, no, he's come back. They expect he's going to be back for the Norwich game, which I find interesting. If I'm not gonna lie, I find it very, very, very interesting that Harry Maguire is going to be coming back so soon, in particular. So yeah, I'm a bit. If I am Manchester United, I'm very concerned because Harry Maguire played so many games for Manchester United over the Christmas break, almost all of them, and it was only inevitable that he was going to get injured. So the fact that, as Solskjaer sort of seems to say, that he is a warrior, and that he will come back and potentially be ready in contention to play Norwich, is ridiculous in my opinion. Because I feel that if you're going to rest a player, if let's put it this way: if Phil Jones cannot play, and he is a potential injured out himself. Oh, audio sounds bad. Sorry, 1 second. Oh dear. Right. Okay. Fine. Thanks for clarifying that up. I'm gonna change that. Okay. Sorry about that. Can everyone hear me? Am I clearer now? Am I clearer? Am I clearer? Am I clearer? My apologies about that. I think that must have been a cable thing, so I really need to listen to this before I go live. Is that better, Don Ragnar? Thank you for pointing that out. Can you hear me now? Are we good? Okay. Right. Let's go. So yeah. So as I was saying regarding, hopefully everyone can hear me now. So I apologize about the audio. We shouldn't get that later. So like I was saying, Harry Maguire suspected hip injury. Was a hip injury. To be honest, probably from the amount of games that he's basically been playing, and the reality is that Solskjaer in his press conference has said that he might be back to be in contention for Norwich. That's basically where we are. I'm very concerned about this for a couple of reasons. Now, of course, yes, and we'll get on to some of the other injured players that will be coming back, but the reality is that Harry Maguire has played so many games for Manchester United this over the December break, and if you can't rest him against Norwich, then when are you going to rest him? Because Norwich are at the bottom of the league. And frankly, if Phil Jones, there's a potential doubt that he might have linked with an injury, not sure, it's not confirmed. But if Phil Jones cannot play against Norwich, then why do we give him a 4 or 5 year contract? Why do we give Phil Jones a contract extension when if we couldn't even use him against the bottom place Norwich side? It's beyond me. I don't really understand. But yes, so Harry Maguire, it was suspected he was going to be out for a month. According to Solskjaer's press conference, he could be in contention for this one Norwich. But for me, from a coaching and managerial point of view, if I was Solskjaer, I would say you drop him. You drop him. You rest Harry Maguire. I don't care whether that means you have to play 3 at the back. Maybe play Ashley Young, Lindelof, and Luke Shaw or something like that. I don't know, but I just feel you need to rest Harry Maguire. So thanks, Don Rag. All good, awesome. Okay, moving on. So Tuanzebe is obviously back. He's in the process of coming back. So just according to going by obviously Solskjaer, because we have some updates regarding Tuanzebe. He and Eric Bailly, and we'll come on to Eric Bailly in a second, because Tuanzebe's been injured since probably about the beginning of December. He should be close to be coming back to the first team essentially. So he's been out. Been out basically since our victory against Colchester United. So there you go. But I've always said I liked Tuanzebe. I've really missed. I really feel that he could be a first starter for Manchester United, and he's on the verge of a first team return. I think that possibly I would expect Tuanzebe to start, not against Norwich. He could be on the bench against a Norwich, but I would expect that he should be in contention for the upcoming games against Wolves, Manchester City, and Liverpool. Certainly for Liverpool. So I think that is very encouraging. And I feel it'd be interesting seeing a Tuanzebe Lindelof sort of partnership in that. He's got a few mistakes in him, but I think he can improve. So that is some good news. Tuanzebe is on the verge of coming back. Hopefully within within the next within the week or so. So that should hopefully be the plan. Okay, so that is Tuanzebe gone. Eric Bailly has been injured since the start of the season. He hasn't played a game, at all since the start of the season. So we're missing him. I've always rated Eric Bailly. I feel that he's what we need. He can actually. He's all right in the air. He's tenacious. I think he's good on the ball. And he likes putting a good tackle, though sometimes he can be a bit rash. The only problem is that he's very injury prone. He hasn't played all season. He had a knee operation in the summer. Has basically been recovering since. So Bailly will basically be playing for the under-23s against Newcastle United on Friday. So basically today, and he'll be continuing. So I don't expect Eric Bailly. Eric Bailly, you know, may be coming back. I don't think he. I doubt Eric Bailly will be fit to face Liverpool. But I would hope that Eric Bailly, especially with a bit of game time, with the Manchester United under 23s and under the first team, that we should hopefully have him by probably early February, maybe mid-February. That's my hope. Again, another centre back, which is fair enough. But unfortunately, we need midfielders, as everyone knows. Don Ragnar says, I thought I'd seen it all when Ollie talked up third choice keeper Lee Grant. Now Ollie's talking up the return of Fosu-Mensah like he's our missing Yaya Toure. We'll come to Fosu-Mensah in a second. Yeah, Bayer potentially our best defender one for. Yeah, I agree. I think he's our best. If we're talking about a defender, that because I just feel that Bay's not when he's played at right back, which was a stupid idea by Ollie, but his decision making when he was fit was a lot better than I think a lot of other defenders right now, positional sense and otherwise. So hopefully, early to mid-February return for Eric Bailly. Another guy, Marcus Rojo. Marcus Rojo, he's been out for 2 months since we won against Brighton in early November. It's no instant that Rojo basically wants to leave the club for a while, not being played. I even think that if he was fit, he probably wouldn't be playing that much. I think it'd be interesting to see with his involvement. I think he's still continuing his recovery. He's still trying to come back. But I suspect that this is one of those wanting to get to move type of sort of injuries. Marcus Rojo has been injured for the vast majority of his United career, to be honest. And I suspect he wants to move away. I think it was rumoured that he was angry. He was supposed to go to Everton, not default from the summer. Want to push for a January move. I think that Marcus Rojo has probably played his last game for Manchester United, to be honest. But that's my opinion. Moving on. Fosu-Mensah, Timothy Fosu-Mensah. Obviously, he had an issue, much like Eric Bailly, and he hasn't played at all this season. And as Don Ragnar said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has essentially said, this is like a new signing. He's back. It's great. It's a new signing. All good. But is it all good? Is the question. Is it all good? Is it all good personally for me, yes, I think it's great that Fosu-Mensah is coming back. But unlike Tuanzebe, who had a very good loan spell at Aston Villa, Fosu-Mensah didn't have a really good time at Crystal Palace, was barely picked. And while I think that gives us another option potentially as a DM, obviously at right back to give cover for Wan-Bissaka, obviously Dallo is going to be there. Personally, the only thing I could say benefit from Fosu-Mensah coming at this moment in time is the potential for him to play in the defensive midfielder role, and even then, that's an experiment. He is obviously like Bay recovering, and we suspect that Fosu-Mensah will be back. I would say early February time, mid-February time, the same sort of time. Playing with the under-23s and basically seeing where we go from there. Moving on, Jesse Lingard. So Jesse Lingard is also injured, more so with an illness actually. So he obviously, I think he played obviously against City and wasn't great. He had an illness before, and apparently the illness that he's had has gotten worse. Presumably it's not a specific injury, it's an illness. So whether that's an underlying medical thing that he has, or whether it is maybe there's something back home with the mental health and stuff like that. It's possible that could be the case. I have noticed that Jesse Lingard looks like he's put on a bit of weight, actually. He looks a lot bigger, not fitter. So I think Jesse Lingard needs to take some time away from Manchester, if I'm honest. So he's basically not going to be involved against Norwich. But I suspect that Jesse Lingard will be back against Wolves and so on as an option. But honestly, I just feel that Solskjaer really needs to manage Lingard better, and if he has issues, he needs to resolve those issues, and you should support him as a club. Yes, he's not been playing particularly well, and if that's because of his issues, you support him. If you don't, keep on playing him. And I feel that Solskjaer, Carrick, and the whole coaching staff's management of players this season for me has been quite bad. Has been quite bad in my opinion. Scott McTominay. Obviously, Scott McTominay, who I think we're missing quite a bit because our midfield has essentially collapsed since Pogba been out. We know, obviously, Scott picked up quite a significant injury. He is going to be out for a while. Possibly the earliest Scott McTominay might be back is February. Possibly. But I would suspect that Scott McTominay is not going to be back until March. I think if we talk about his recovery from his injury and then talk about getting match fit again, most likely Scott McTominay will be back for Manchester United in March, which is a big blow, which is why we need to actually to sign a midfielder. Whether that will happen or not is up to you. But yes, Scott McTominay definitely not be playing against Norwich, and I don't think we're going to see Scott McTominay for another playing match fit regularly. I would say not until late February, early March at the earliest, in my opinion. Don Wagner, Lingard is more effective to us injured and fit. For us, Ollie and coach have to seek out other ways of playing. Does it though? I don't think it does. I still think we play the same way. It's just that we put Pereira or someone else there to play the same way. Just like injuries led to Fred finally getting him a chance and becoming our most consistent midfielder. I hope that's the case. I really hope that's the case. But we'll see. Because frankly, we're still playing the same way. And the fact that we've had injuries, the fact that it was only Gomez only played against City just there and then, and you're thinking he should have been starting. Given that we had other midfielders available. But there we go. Ollie's at the wheel apparently. Poor Pogba. Pogba. He's neither here nor there. I don't have any issue with poor Pogba. I know some fans do, and I think they need to take their issue out on the board, Ed Woodward, and the coaching team. To be honest, not him, especially given recent events regarding Ashley Young, and we'll talk about that at a later date. We'll talk about that actually on 100% Manchester United. But yes, Pogba. Obviously, has an ongoing issue with his ankle, which is slightly different to the previous injury. He has had surgery on it. And basically, he obviously had a long spell out. It wasn't the same injury. His medical people advised operation. He's had the operation. I think Pogba is probably going to be back a bit earlier than McTominay. I would expect and hope that Pogba will be back probably mid-February. I think he's had his surgery and he's beginning his basically rehab. So fingers crossed he'll get some form of game time, maybe mid-February onwards. That's the hope anyway. And hopefully we're close around top 4 or still in the Europa League at that point. There's a very good chance that by February we could be well away from top 4 and out of the Europa League, and that would be a disaster. So yeah, that's my brief kind of Manchester United injury update. Apologies for the audio at the beginning. Really apologise for that. Where do we go from here? As I said, I believe Manchester United need to sign players. We desperately need to sign players in this Jan transfer window. It just increasingly looks like that we're not going to. For all those injuries and all those people coming back that I've said, the reality is that the area that we need the most, which is midfield, we're not going to get any of that back yet, unfortunately. And that for me is quite concerning. And we need those players. We need midfielders. We need wingers even for that matter, like a right winger. But whether we're going to get it or not, remains to be seen. Last comment. Don Wagner says, I'd experiment with Martial on the 10, with Green as the 9, and have Williams and Delo as the wing backs, and put Amos as the right side of centre backs with Lindelof, leave Jones out. I agree. I think that sounds. I'd be interested to see what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's formation is going to be like tomorrow, and we will be doing a preview before the game, our FIFA stream, as well as a post-match reaction following the result. Let me know what you think, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Stay tuned for 100% Manchester United podcast later tonight. So have a nice evening, guys, and cheers.